a life and death situation. To save a life, medical specialists examine systems, organs, tissues, blood. Using skills learned from the study of what cannot be seen except with a microscope, the cell. This is a cell, the smallest of living things, the center of life. Every living thing is made up of cells. And everything we do involves cells. Your body is made up of systems: the digestive system, the respiratory system, the circulatory system, and others, which in turn are made up of organs like the lungs, the heart, the stomach, which in turn are made up of tissues like blood tissue, bone tissue, muscle tissue, tissues which are made up of cells. It all begins with a single cell. Scientists can save lives with their knowledge of the cell. Cells have many shapes and colors. They may be hard or soft. Some are large, but most are very small and can be seen only through a microscope. The cell is the smallest living part of everything that lives. Cells are alive. They can increase in size. They can duplicate themselves. They are constantly active. Look at your hand. If your eyes were very powerful microscopes, you could look down at your hand and see that your skin is made up of trillions of cells. These students are staining a muscle cell with a solution known as methylene blue. The stain makes it possible to see the cell and to discover its various parts. On the outside of the animal cell is the cell membrane, a thin structure. The cell membrane regulates the exchange of materials between the cell and its environment. All animal cells, including our cells, must have food and oxygen to live. Food and oxygen are carried with the blood into the cells all through your body. Then waste substances, such as carbon dioxide, are moved out of the cell. What does the animal cell need to live? What is transported out of the cells? Over and over, this process is going on every second in millions of cells throughout your body. Imagine that process going on right now in your body. Animals have to eat in order to supply their cells with food. Plants take in raw materials and convert them to food through the process of photosynthesis. Plants change sunlight, carbon dioxide, and water into a form that can be used by their cells. But plant cells differ from animal cells. These students are staining a section from an onion with iodine so we can see an example of a plant cell. Most plant cells have a cell wall surrounding the cell membrane. The cell wall provides support and rigidity for the plant. Animal cells usually lack this cell wall. The living parts of both plant and animal cells are made up of protoplasm. Both plant and animal cells perform many complex functions. How do they do it? What makes it all work? When we walk, talk, do anything, what tells us to do it? The brain. It works similarly with cells. Each cell has a nucleus. The nucleus controls what the cell does. When new cells are needed by the body, they are formed by the process of cell division. One cell dividing into two identical cells, each with its own nucleus. Inside the nucleus are chromosomes. Chromosomes are rod-like structures in the nucleus of each cell. Chromosomes contain genes that carry hereditary traits. If the chromosomes direct the new cells to become skin cells, then they become skin cells. If the chromosomes direct the cells to become bone cells, they become bone cells. Chromosomes are able to do these things by means of a remarkable substance called DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid. It is these long molecules of DNA inside the chromosomes that determine what every cell will become. But every living thing begins as one cell. A few cells are very large, like the yolk of this egg. The chicken develops from this one fertilized cell. The process is similar in all living things. We begin our lives as one very tiny cell. That one cell divides into two cells. These divide into 4, then 8, and 16, and 32, and so on. Until we have a heart, a brain, eyes and ears, fingers, feet, skin and bone and nerve. Different parts with different functions so that we can live and grow from one cell. In some organisms, growing stops and cell division slows down when the organism reaches adulthood. Cell division then occurs just enough to replace those cells that have worn out. Some cells last a long time, and some have to be replaced often. Many nerve cells never need to be replaced. They live through your whole lifetime. Some bone cells live and work for 2 years before they wear out. Blood cells are replaced at a slow and steady rate, unless your body loses blood. Then, blood cells will be manufactured very rapidly. When enough new blood cells have been made, the process will stop. The most active cell replacement in the body goes on in the skin. Skin cells may die in a week, be rubbed off and replaced. But sometimes, cell replacement in the body goes wrong, causing a serious illness, cancer. Using complex laboratory equipment, scientists study the nucleus, chromosomes, and other parts of cells to treat and prevent diseases. A person is made up of trillions of tiny cells. But some plants and animals are made up of just one cell. They are microorganisms called protists. In many cases, so small they cannot be seen without a microscope. This pond contains countless numbers of one-celled plants and animals. These are one-celled plants called algae. Each algae plant in this chain consists of one cell. The amoeba is also made up of one cell. The amoeba feeds on other microorganisms. This is a paramecium. The paramecium feeds on bacteria. Another one-celled organism. Some of these are classified as protozoan. Many organisms are made up of one cell. Some are made up of many cells. A building is one large structure made up of smaller floors, sections, and rooms. You're the same way. You are made up of systems, which are made up of organs, which are made up of tissues, which are made up of the smallest living part of you and me and everything that lives. What is that smallest living part?